the 49 years since the war, a local Vietnam War veteran lost track of his medals. This morning, his honors were made whole once again by Congressman Jim Jordan. Eli Burgett was there at the ceremony. So, Eli, how exactly did this come about?
Well, Danny Woodard, he served 2 tours in the Vietnam War, and he was given several medals by the U.S. government. Over the years, he misplaced those medals, but this morning, thanks to the Logan County Vets to D.C. and Jim Jordan, he was able to get them back.
Well, I'm going to mount them on the wall at the house. They gave me the American flag and everything. I'm going to mount all the certificates all in a group.
Drafted in 1966, Danny Woodard served 2 tours as a helicopter door gunner in the Vietnam War. After his time in the military, Woodard was honored by the U.S. government with 3 Purple Hearts, an Air Medal for Valor, and several other awards.
Danny, like a lot of other vets, that war comes home sometimes every night, so it's tough. But Danny's a survivor. You know, Danny's made it, along with a lot of other guys that have been going through the same thing.
Over the years, Woodard lost track of his medals, but with the help of Logan County Vets to D.C. and Congressman Jim Jordan, he was honored once again in a quiet ceremony, and now he has them back.
You know, that generation, many of them didn't get the respect and the honor that they deserved when they came home. And so this is kind of a special day for him and his family and for this entire community.
The ceremony was a small gathering with a few of Woodard's close friends, but it had a large impact. Woodard told me it's just nice to have them back. Back to you.
Well, today is a day many people consider the unofficial start of summer. Hosting cookouts or planning their beach days, but the holiday is intended to honor fallen military members. The VA asked Americans to take a pause at 3 p.m. for 1 minute of silence to remember those who died while in military service to the country. The day dates all the way back to the 1860s, where graves of the fallen were decorated with flowers. Today, we plant flags at each headstone honoring those who paid the ultimate sacrifice.
We gather at this sacred place at this solemn moment to remember, to honor the sacrifice of the hundreds of thousands of women and men who've given their lives to this nation. Today, we bear witness to the price they paid.
As you just heard, President Biden delivered a Memorial Day address at Arlington National Cemetery this morning. Now, prior to the address, President Biden laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. The tomb serves as a monument to the fallen soldiers whose remains have not been identified. Biden used the address as a reminder for the price of freedom.
Freedom has never been guaranteed. Every generation has to earn it, fight for it, defend it in battle between autocracy and democracy, between the greed of a few and the rights of many. It matters. Our democracy is more than just a system of government. It's the very soul of America.
In his speech, Biden also paid his respects to the soldiers who did not die in combat, but from the effects of being deployed. Biden lost his son Beau to cancer caused by toxic burn pits in Iraq. He says the pain of his loss is deep, but so is the pride in his service. And a ceremony held here at the Dayton VA honoring our fallen soldiers at the National Cemetery. In attendance were local veterans and Gold Star families, even a former prisoner of war. Members from each military branch placed a wreath honoring those who died. As a veteran himself, the National Cemetery director says it's important to remember those who didn't make it home to enjoy the freedoms they fought for.
So this is the one day of the year that, is kind of identified as the day of remembrance, for those veterans. But at the cemetery, I've said many times, every day is Memorial Day here. I mean, we take care of veterans and their families every single day here at the cemetery. So it's an absolute honor.
The ceremony concluded with a 21-gun salute and the playing of taps, which is considered the highest honor. The Centerville community gathered at Cornerstone Park to pay their respects to our fallen heroes this morning. A local band played the national anthem, followed by children saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Veterans and active duty military members attended, speaking on what this day means to them and the country. We spoke with the mayor of Centerville on why he believes holding this event every year is so important.
Those who suffered in combat, lost their lives, gave us the opportunities to fulfill our dreams with their freedom that they preserved for us. So we'd like to recognize that on Memorial Day, not just Memorial Day, but every day.
Compton added, today we recognize again not only those who died in combat, but doing so pays respects to their family as well. A live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam, a beautiful Memorial Day afternoon and evening out there. Let's send it out to Chief Meteorologist Natalie Walters.
Well, a really nice one out here for Memorial Day. You can see the sun peeking through the clouds, and we are going to be looking at a fairly calm evening. Can't rule out a spot shower, but really most of the rain looks like it's going to be holding off until our Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe. I am tracking some rain in the forecast, but as far as temperatures, it is beautiful. 70 right now. We got a little bit of a breeze. 68 in Troy. We have 66 in Sydney. A little cloudy out there too, especially as you can see here for our northern counties. That cloud cover keeping temperatures down into the 60s for most of us, but it is really just a nice day right now. As I mentioned, a little bit of a breeze, but heading through the rest of this evening, temperatures are going to be falling. I do think we'll see some upper 50s, but we'll see a mix of sun and clouds as the sun sets, and then mostly clear overnight. I'll talk about those rain chances coming up.
Today marks 5 years exactly since the Miami Valley was forever changed by an outbreak of tornadoes. That night, 15 tornadoes damaged nearly 6,000 homes, 400 businesses, and nearly 1,200 of those homes were damaged beyond repair. But through all the destruction, first responders rushed to the rescue for thousands affected by the storms.
You start going through all these buildings and you start going through all these homes, and they're outside, or you're talking to them, and it's, you know, my leg hurts, or, you know, hey, I twisted my ankle, or hey, I've got a cut, and you're like, you're looking at them and just completely blown away. You're like, you should be dead right now.
Coming up at 6:30 on Fox 45 and at 11 p.m. here on ABC 22, a 30-minute special walking you through the personal experiences of the first responders from the night of the Memorial Day tornadoes. You'll hear stories never heard before, along with pictures and video never seen. It's all through their eyes, the unsung heroes. That's tonight at 6:30 and 11. Well, Memorial Day, of course, is all about honoring those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. But as the weather heats up, it also serves as the unofficial kickoff to summer. And if you're having trouble finding affordable family fun this summer, you're not alone. Lydia Weiss spoke with an economic expert about the rising costs. And so, Lydia, what exactly did he recommend for families?
So Riley Dugan, an economic professor at the University of Dayton, told me that exploring the great outdoors, going to free concerts at places like Levitt Pavilion, and heading to the Dayton Metro Library are some of the ways that you can have free fun with your family this summer. Now, I also caught up with the Dayton Dragons and Kings Island to see what kind of deals that they have for our Miami Valley families heading into the next couple of months.
I think the primary reason that inflation has occurred in the first place is obviously coming out of COVID. Money was much more accessible. The government floated a lot of money into the economy to spur the economy.
Although the COVID-19 pandemic began 4 years ago, Americans are still dealing with the repercussions when it comes to inflation and how expensive things are these days. That's why I asked economic professor Riley Dugan what he recommends families do to have an affordable yet fun summer together.
And so what I would recommend to families is the first thing to do to have a really enjoyable summer is just to enjoy the great outdoors, right? So, Dayton has more miles of connected bike trails, I believe, of any city in the country. But you also have cultural institutions, right? The library has a lot of free events during the summer. So too does the Dayton Art Institute, as well as the U.S. Air Force Museum.
Kristen Surowitz, a mom living in Springboro, takes her children out to the local splash pad where they can soak up the sun and water for free.
Having a free option for our family over the summer is great because passes to things cost so much, especially when you're a family of 4 or 5 or 6. The costs really get up there.
But if you want to head out to fan favorites like the Dayton Dragons or Kings Island, check out their family-friendly deals.
We have a program called Wendy's Friends and Family Program. You can buy a ticket, you get a Dragons hat, and you get a Wendy's value meal for just $17 for a stadium seat, $13 for a lawn ticket.
But I think the best deal is our Silver Pass. It's just over $100, and it includes unlimited admission, not just to Kings Island, but also to our water park for for every day through Labor Day.
Now at Kings Island, you can buy a ticket online for just $44.99 per day. Now also, if you just want to go from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., you can get in for $34.99. Now at the Dayton Dragons, they have some really affordable group prices. So you can go as a group for about $8 to $14 per person. And last but not least, do some research on what your local parks have to offer this summer. Here at JF Kennedy Park in Kettering, they have a splash pad, playground, and pickleball here behind me, all for free. Back to you.
Lydia, thank you. Well, tomorrow, state lawmakers will be gathering to find a way to put President Biden on the November ballot here in Ohio. Coming up, why this issue may not be resolved easily in one day. And the NCAA reached a player settlement over $2 billion. What this means for the future of college athletes. Next.
Plus, I'm tracking some cooler weather across the Miami Valley. How much colder we'll get, that's coming up. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Deadly storms roared across Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas Saturday night into Sunday, leaving behind a swath of mangled structures, injuries, and power outages. This damage is from Claremore, Oklahoma, northeast of Tulsa. With inaccessible roads and downed power lines, officials decided to shut down the city, and only residents with ID will be allowed into the city limits until further notice.
Tomorrow, state lawmakers are tasked with putting their differences aside to come up with a solution to get President Biden on Ohio's November ballot. Now, Governor Mike DeWine called for a rare special session of the General Assembly. He calls it, quote, an absurd situation. But as Tom Bosco reports, the fight is far from over.
It hasn't been an issue in the past. Exceptions have been made when national party conventions happened after the deadline to certify names for the Ohio ballot. But for some reason, this year is different. Democrats and Republicans, the House and the Senate, no one can figure out how to get President Joe Biden on the ballot. It's something that's irking the governor.
Failing to do so is simply not acceptable.
So he called lawmakers back for a special session on Tuesday. Democrats want a clean bill that gets Biden on the ballot with nothing in exchange. But Republicans have conditions. They're pushing a bill that has a lot of add-ons, including a measure to ban foreign money from elections and measures that Democrats say make it tougher to get citizen-led issues, like last year's abortion rights measure, on the ballot. So the issue will be resolved tomorrow, right? Not so fast. Here's how this could go. Legislative sources tell us the Senate believes the House must act first, so the Senate could gavel in and then immediately go into a recess. Any proposals will have to go to committee on Tuesday for debate, with a vote not coming until Thursday at the earliest. State Representative Bill Seitz and State Senator Rob McCauley are leading negotiations between the two houses.
That was Tom Bosco reporting. Well, here on this Memorial Day in the Miami Valley, it's a little chilly. I hate to say chilly because it's really not. It's beautiful though.
It's really nice, but
yeah.
When you think about the unofficial start to summer, you may think of pool weather. Not quite pool weather.
Not
today.
quite pool weather, no.
A little cool. We do have cloud cover around the area though, and a little bit of a breeze, which is making it feel even cooler. So that's part of what's making it feel a little chillier today. But cloud cover keeping temperatures in the 60s off to the north. As far as what's going on, frontal system that impacted us yesterday, bringing us those severe storms, now off to the east. We have northwesterly flow, so you could see precipitation making its way through parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin. We have moisture that will eventually make its way here into the Miami Valley over these next couple of days, keeping some showers around. Tonight, though, it's going to be pretty nice. I think we'll see some upper 50s around the area. By our Tuesday, back into the 70s, but a spot shower can't be ruled out by the afternoon and especially tomorrow evening. Heading into our Wednesday, a stronger disturbance heads its way in, and this is going to bring scattered showers into the area during our day on Wednesday. Notice temperatures on Wednesday only in the 60s, so it's going to stay well below normal before we start to rebound by the end of the week. Also going to be a little bit breezy tonight, winds fairly calm, but tomorrow winds gusting up to about 20 miles per hour. Same thing with our Wednesday with that cooler weather in place. We'll also be dealing with some wind gusts up to 20 to 25 miles per hour, bringing a much cooler than normal day across the area, but I'll have a look at our 7-day coming up.
Well, yesterday's storms knocked out power here in the Miami Valley. In fact, 2,000 customers remain without power right now. That number up to about 3,600, or was up to 3,600, excuse me, after yesterday's first round of storms. So obviously AES Ohio is still dealing with those power outages tonight. Now, Kentucky, of course, in a state of emergency after severe storms swept over the Commonwealth. At least 5 people died. That's what we now know tonight after multiple tornadoes, strong winds and flooding late last night. Governor Andy Beshear says Kentuckians will receive the support they need in the recovery effort, which is already very much underway.
Right now, we're providing assistance from the state level to our counties, but our cities and counties are out there working it and working it hard. And sometimes we even have to offer extra help to get them to take it.
Now, the damage is responsible for widespread power outages. More than 120,000 electric customers in Kentucky are now waiting for their power to be restored. And last week, the NCAA and its 5 power conferences agreed to settle to 3 federal antitrust suits, which now paves the way for schools to directly pay college athletes for the first time in history. Dave Holmes breaks down how this settlement, though, could affect Ohio State Buckeyes.
The NCAA will pay $2.7 billion to current and past players going back 10 years. But the most interesting part is what happens next, and that's the revenue sharing. Basically, every school is going to be allowed to pay its student athletes directly, and that figure is about $20 million a year. But here's the catch. That number is for all student athletes on campus, so now it's up to every athletic director to decide how to spend that money.
I think the revenue share is going to change many things. It's going to reshuffle budgets. It's going to impact a lot of departments. And so whereas an Ohio State can probably afford it there are many other schools, football programs, who won't be able to.
And really, that's the main issue moving forward. Some schools can afford to share revenue, some schools cannot. And this new settlement could widen the gap between the major schools and the smaller schools. These changes should take effect in the fall of 2025.
Well, speaking of the pool, because we were talking about that earlier with it being the unofficial start to summer, next couple of days may not be the best day to soak up the pool or the sunshine. Outside, maybe not in the water, but if it's a heated pool, it may be okay. A few showers by tomorrow afternoon, highs in the lower 70s. Wednesday, a little cool, a little breezy, upper 60s with those showers around. Now, Thursday's looking all right, lower 70s by the afternoon. With sunshine in the forecast, still a little bit on the cooler side, but we got some good news. If you want some warmer weather, there is some warmer weather on the way. By Saturday, we have temperatures climbing close to 80 degrees, but we're also going to be tracking some showers back in the forecast too. So overall, cooler than normal trend. Once we start to warm up, we do get some rain back in the mix too. So I'll have a look at that with our 7-day coming up.
The splash pad at Five Rivers Metro Parks is now officially open. A look at the fun ways you can stay cool this summer coming up. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Things are heating up here in the Miami Valley as today kicks off the unofficial start of summer. Alex King explains how we can stay cool.
Get excited! Starting today, you can enjoy the water features in your 5 Rivers Metro Parks. Look at this, the splash pad is on, it's ready to go. Park employees want to remind you of some safety tips to keep in mind when heading out. If you are on a paddle craft, it is important to always wear a life jacket. There is no swimming in your 5 Rivers Metro Parks. And on very hot days, it's important to drink lots of water in order to stay hydrated, even if you are splashing in water for a cool down. And keep those fur babies in mind if you bring them out to the park as well. While out in the heat, you want to keep them hydrated too, or keep them in the shade. And of course, you want to dress for the weather as well. Stay weather aware. Overall, the goal is to stay safe and to have lots of fun this summer. Back to you guys.
Well, doing anything outdoors these next couple of days, it's going to be pretty nice temperature-wise, but it is going to be cooler than normal. We also have some rain chances in the forecast. So talking about the rain over these next couple of days, just isolated tomorrow. By our Wednesday, that's our best chance for rain, at least for the rest of this work week. And then dry Thursday, Friday, rain chances creep back up, especially as we head into the start of next week and by next Monday. Greater chance for rain, maybe even some thunderstorms as temperatures begin to climb, as you can see here. So staying below normal high 78. We're going to be well below that. In fact, about 10 degrees below that for our Wednesday, and then heading into this weekend, highs close to 80 degrees.
Yeah, it's a little cooler out there, but you know, it's not really too shabby. But just so you are aware, I just want to give a friendly reminder to tune in over on Fox 45, actually right now, in the next couple minutes. There is a 30